Hey guys, Brad from Medfire here. Today I'm just going to be doing my top trails of classmates. I just completed the first game, loved it. It was really, really good. I'll have many more trails of videos to come in the future. I plan on doing maybe like a tier ranking for their strength. Not in-game strength, like I mean like actual canon strength. And yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, so, and I'll also just say that, I don't have too much to say about the lower ranked characters on this list. But then again, I guess that's why they're lower on my list. Enjoy. Starting off at number 11, in last place, we have Elliott Craig. I won't really say much about Elliott, but there's some things I like, and then there's why I dislike him. I like how he's down to earth and normal, but then I really dislike how wimpy he is, how he for the entire game whines about not being in music school because his dad won't let him, and overall his design and even the weapon he uses is boring to me. In battle, he's probably the best support in my opinion. He has some pretty good healing, and he's definitely pulled me out of a lot of tough spots. And funny enough, his S-Craft is my second favorite in the game. I thought it was extremely creative, how he turns his weapon into like a violin, and then he calls upon like these sphere things and they attack the enemy. But yeah, he is number 11. Coming at number 10 is Milliam. She's annoying, she's stupid, and half the time, she's not serious at all. And for me, that's a character I don't really like. Like, for those of you who know Tales of Berseria, I really did not like Magilu because she was pretty much jokey the whole game almost. Same with Pascal of Tales of Graces F. Usually don't like those jokey kind of characters. Like a little bit more seriousness. It doesn't also help that she's 13 years old, which makes it harder for me to take her seriously. And the only reason she's not last is because of the ending scene where she reveals that Crow is C, and I thought that was very intelligent of her, seeing as even Claire and some other smart people didn't see it coming, and she kind of pieced it together at the end part, so small reason, but that's why she's not 11 and she's 10. Number 9 is Emma Milstein. So hear me out on this one, guys. I actually originally really liked Emma. I loved her design. Something about her hyped me up. And I had made a bet to myself that she'd be the top 5 for me at the end of the game. And honestly, that will probably hold true later on in the series, but not for the first one. And the reason is the huge thing that turned me off from her is that she kept her secrets hidden from everyone the entire game. Now, while that's fine and all for Reen and the others, this just personally got on my nerves. It's like the entire game she kept teasing me, but in the end, nothing came out and was revealed, so it was just a huge tease with no reveal at the end. It was also painful to see Reen just let every obvious hint slip right by him, when in other instances, he fully called out suspicious things that had happened to him. The final nail in the coffin is when she basically just said, "Sorry for keeping things from you," and then proceeds to continue keeping things from them in secret, when it's so obvious that she has some part in the castle segment in Laura's hometown and in the old schoolhouse. Onto her abilities in game, they were quite useful, but where her true greatness truly lied was in her high magic stats, so I could use like the higher level arts and do like insane amounts of damage. That was cool. And a fun fact is her S-Craft reminded me of Hope's special in Final Fantasy XIII. I don't know if any of you remember that. Anyways, overall, I don't hate or dislike Emma, and I'm sure I'll end up liking her a lot more in the upcoming sequels, but for this game, she kinda a little bit got on my nerves. Number 8 is Machias. At first, I thought I was going to like him a lot. He looked to be a parallel to Eustace, but honestly, he slowly just became boring to me. His constant babble on and on about his hatred for nobles, even though clearly Eustace wasn't that kind of noble, the one that he kept hating on. He also irked me a little bit in the beginning when he questioned Laura and Fee's strength because they're girls, but the fact is that both of them would whoop him in a fight. Speaking on his strength, I see him as one of the weaker members of Class 7. Aside from his shotgun, I don't see him possessing any decent close hand-to-hand combat, so if you get past his shots, he's pretty much vulnerable and weak. I'll touch more on that on my ranking list, but yeah, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that. And as much as I didn't really care for him, I did like his backstory, and I did feel for him in that regard. I also like his in-game abilities a lot better than the character himself. His basic attack had a huge range and could hit multiple enemies at once, which was extremely useful. And his first craft had a 50-50 chance of initiating a combat link strike pretty much all the time, and while lowering their defense. So he was pretty useful. At number 7, we have Gaius. Gaius Warzel. Can I just start by saying I love the names in these games? They have such cool sounding names. Anyways, yeah, so at number 7 is Gaius. I love his design, but aside from that, I took him as just the basic best friend type of character. It wasn't until he stood up for the Class 7 when Patrick verbally assaulted them, and I gained a bit more of a liking towards him after that. His hometown, while annoying to traverse, was cool and did add a lot to the world building in the game. Also did enjoy seeing his family and his love and dedication to protect them and his land. I do respect him for that. In-game, he uses a spear as his weapon of choice, which was really cool to me. And his S-Craft is my 4th favorite in the game. I found it really cool, the wings and everything. And like Emma, it heavily reminded me of Eisen's second Mystic Art in Tales of Berseria, where he grows wings and just pummels the enemy. And yeah, so Gaius is number 7. So number 6 is Crow. So I'd be lying to you if I didn't say the only reason he's as high as he is because he was revealed to be C. The shocking reveal that Crow was the man behind the mask the entire time made him so much more badass to me. Him shooting the Chancellor, to him toying around with Claire, to him defeating Reen at the end of the game, all of it just made him so cool to me, and I definitely crave more of him in the sequels to come. Also, his voice when acting as C was great. It sounded really cool. Originally, I didn't like him at all, aside from his design and the weapons he used. He came off as the basic perverted character you see in almost every series nowadays. But that Crow was a complete lie. The fact that he defeated Reen, Laura, and Fee all working together without much assistance goes to show just of how much of a powerhouse he truly is. Gameplay-wise, I didn't really use him all that much, so I can't comment on that, but I am hyped to see what he brings in the next game, so yeah. Number 5 is Laura. It was really hard placing Laura. I wanted to make her 4th, but she fell short by a tiny bit. This is not to say she wasn't a great character. Laura for me was all around great. She's very respectable, she's strong, she has the best looking weapon in the game, and she has good values. Her hometown is my favorite location in the game, and funny enough, I think I liked her dad the most of all the other parental figures. Her clash with Fee at nighttime during one of the chapters was super hype to me, and it turns out that she's actually stronger than Fee by a little bit, which honestly shocked me. I would love to see how strong she truly is, as I don't know where she stands in terms of rankings. In-game wise, she might be my favorite to play as, because her strength is through the roof. I found her doing double the damage any other character was doing, and I was always using her and all her craft abilities. Radiant Wings, which raised her attack, was a great setup for her other craft, Brilliant Spin, which sucked in most enemies and did heavy damage all around the board. Her S-Craft is my 3rd favorite in the game. And lastly, if any of you know One Piece out there, she gave off heavy Mihawk vibes. So maybe she's actually adopted and Mihawk's her real father. Who knows? Number 4, we have Alyssa. At first, she was probably my least favorite character. The fact that she was mad at Reen for so long over something that was obviously not his fault, and when it was also obvious that he did it with good intentions, it just really aggravated me. I literally said out loud, how are you still mad at him? I also took her for the boring main girl type of character, which is in fact is kind of her role, as she's seen in a lot of promos as Reen's girl. Though late in the game, I actually gained a lot of respect for Alyssa due to her want to help everyone else. I also felt for her in regards to her mom not being there for her at all. I actually enjoyed her bonding scene the most, even though she's not my favorite character in the game, and it's funny how Trails has made me like 2 main characters now, when in a lot of other games and series I usually dislike them. Alyssa in combat was great for me. I just spam her Blessed Arrow so that I could keep reusing my party's S-Crafts, and occasionally I would use Molten Rain because it hit enemies and would have a high chance of activating the combat link attacks. Anyways, after watching the Trails 2 opening, Alyssa is looking mad good, and I can't wait to see what she brings in the future games. Now for the top 3. In 3rd place, we have Eustace. I've always been a suck for the arrogant characters in series, and Eustace was exactly that from the very start. The way he pushed everyone away and was completely to himself made it obvious he was one of those characters. Seeing him be the only other classmate aside from Fee who ventured to the schoolhouse trial alone really set him up for me to be a character I would come to love. He also proved early on that he was a force to be reckoned with when he took out multiple monsters casually by himself in the schoolhouse, and even being intrigued to fight the gargoyle monster in the schoolhouse while mostly everyone else was intimidated by it. He also developed nicely as a character when at the beginning he wanted nothing to do with anyone, but at the end of the game he had come to see his class as his dear friends. Also, a random note I found funny: was that Milliam was the only one who truly got under his skin and got on his nerves. Machias tried that the entire game, and I honestly don't think Eustace was ever bothered by it. Using him in game, I found that he wasn't the best character overall, but I did make use of his noble command and treasure sword crafts. Overall, Eustace is number 3, and I really did enjoy his character. Number 2 is Reen Schwarzer, the main character of the Trails of Cold Steel series. I really didn't expect a main character to be in my top 3, as usually the main characters in many series bore me or are too goody two-shoes for my liking, but not Reen. He was surprisingly a very well-written character through and through. I love his ambition and how serious he can get when danger comes his or his classmates' way. Also, the white-haired demonic form that he takes when he's at his last resort is extremely badass. I definitely see him as Class 7's leader due to his great leadership skills and how he's arguably the strongest in his class during the first game at least. I really don't think anyone except maybe Crow could handle his white-haired form. In-game, I used him in every fight. I never switched him out. I had him in, I know you can switch him out, but I never did. From early on, I was in love with his Autumn Leaf Cutter craft, which is the first craft he unlocks, as it looked really badass, had a huge range, and it had a high chance of canceling enemy arts, which was great. Also, with the Hado Quartz equipped to Reen, which doubles the damage of his first hit, I found myself one-shotting mostly every enemy using the Gale craft. I was even one-shotting some bosses with double damage on Reen's S-craft, which is, again, really great. And at number 1 is my homegirl, Fie Clausel. Fie instantly appealed to me not only because of her design, but the mysterious air she brought about her. You know in anime, when you know a character is going to be really strong before seeing them in action? Well, that was Fie. She was the only one to escape the Sarah schoolhouse floor trap, and she was also one of 2 people that went into the schoolhouse solo. Now, regarding her design, I love female characters with short hair, and the white hair really looks good on her. I love her laid-back attitude, and her backstory about the Jaeger Corps made her into even more of a badass for me. She's pretty much a child that grew up on the battlefield, which is insane because that means her whole life has just been centered around fighting, which obviously means she's strong. Moving on to using her during gameplay, she was by far the fastest character I had in my party. She'd sometimes have 2 or even 3 turns in succession before the enemy had a chance to attack, while the other classmates in my party only got 1. Her skill set was good, and I found myself using Scud Ripper a lot, which was a straight-line attack that had a 30% chance at KOing the enemy. Her final craft was Bullet Cyclone, which was probably one of the best-looking crafts in the game. She also has my favorite S-craft in the game, which involves her shooting towards the enemy at high speed, slicing them, and then spinning around and gunning the enemy down. A final note to add, her black raid weapon I received from one of the side quests made her insanely overpowered to me. It has a 10% chance of death, and my luck was always on my side, so half the time I was just deathing all the enemies. And yeah, so Fie is number 1, my favorite character, and I'm really looking forward to what she does in the future games. Hope she has a good part in it. And that is my ranking of the Class 7 classmates. Hope you enjoyed for whoever's watching, and I'm gonna for sure make more of these videos, more Trails of Cold Steel videos, more whatever I feel like, video game related. Sorry for being a little stutterish. I can definitely tell watching it back. That's just due to me not being used to all this recording and talking in a microphone and all that. Hopefully I'll get better as time goes on, the more videos I make. But if you're watching this, and you've played Trails, just drop a comment and tell me what your top 5 favorite characters are. And yeah, I'd be interested to know. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.